Welcome back. So we have completed almost 30 questions from 2019 and 2020. Today we will discuss questions on human physiology from 2021. The partial pressures in mmHg of oxygen and carbon dioxide at alveoli, the site of diffusion, are. So this is a straightforward factual question. You should have these values at your fingertips. Oxygen is 104, CO2 is 40. So 104 is here, 40. So this is the answer. So these are the values of partial pressure of oxygen and CO2 in the atmosphere. And here you will have to by heart the values of PO2 and PCO2 at alveoli and in the deoxygenated blood. So diffusion occurs at the alveolar site, and then another site where diffusion occurs is at the tissue level. Okay, so please by heart all these values. These are very important. So another question which can be designed using these values would be the gradient of PO2. So it will be 159 in atmosphere, and then it drops to 104 in alveoli, then 95 in oxygenated blood, and then in tissue it is 40. So because of this gradient, oxygen spontaneously diffuse into the alveoli and then into oxygenated blood, and from oxygenated blood to tissue. On the other hand, if you focus on PCO2, the values are 45 in tissue, 40 in oxygenated blood. So it will diffuse from tissue into the blood. And at this site again, this is 45, this is higher value, and this is low. So diffusion will occur in this direction. So they can ask you these values to arrange them in proper order. Which of the following statements wrongly represents the nature of smooth muscle? These muscles are present in the wall of blood vessels. This is correct. They are also present in stomach and intestine. These muscles have no striation. Yes. They are involuntary muscles. Yes. So fourth option has to be the right answer. Communication among the cells is performed by intercalated disc. So option 4 is incorrect. And this is the answer. Skeletal muscle is striated. It is voluntary, multinucleated, and they are involved in locomotion and movement. Smooth muscles, non-striated. Do the comparison here. They are involuntary. They are uninucleated. They are found in blood vessels, stomach, and intestine. Cardiac muscles are striated, just like skeletal muscles. Involuntary, just like smooth muscles. Multinucleated, like skeletal muscles. And this is unique. It is not seen in skeletal or smooth muscles. Intercalated disc for quick electrical signals. So you might get a diagram to identify the type of muscle. Chronic autoimmune disorder affecting neuromuscular junction leading to fatigue, weakening, paralysis of skeletal muscle is called. This is the antibody against the acetylcholine receptor. The disease is called myasthenia gravis. This is the answer, option number 4. Persons with AB blood group are called as universal recipients. This is due to, so this is basic question. Because they have both the antigens, they don't have any antibody. Absence of antibodies anti-A and anti-B in plasma. Correct. Absence of antigen A and B on the surface of RBC. This is incorrect because this is the reason why it is called AB blood group. They have antigens. Absence of antigens A and B in plasma. Antigens are present on the surface of RBC. So this statement itself is wrong. Presence of antibodies anti-A, anti-B on RBCs. Incorrect. So option 1 is the right answer. Receptors for sperm binding in mammals are present on. So this will be on zona pellucida. This is the outer layer of secondary oocyte. Corona radiata are the cells sticking onto the secondary oocyte. So it cannot have the receptor. Vitelline membrane is inner to zona pellucida. Perivitelline space, the space will not have any receptors. So answer is option 1. Venereal diseases can spread. Venereal are the STDs, sexually transmitted diseases. They can spread using sterile needles. Sterile, of course, no. A is wrong. So wherever you see A, strike it out. So now B is common, C is common. You only need to rule out D. D is kissing. Kissing will not transmit venereal disease. Only if there is any cut and there is access to blood, then this might lead to a disease transmission. So D is wrong, 3 is wrong. So right answer is option number 4. Match question. Whenever you have a list which has more words, read that list first. Entry of sperm through cervix is blocked. This is a barrier method. Barrier will be walled. A1. A1 is only in option number 3. B is 3. IUD is phagocytosis of sperm within uterus. Correct. Then C2. Removal of vas deferens, vasectomy. Correct. And D4. So option 3 is the right answer. Which one of the following is an example of hormone releasing IUD? Hormone releasing IUD will be LNG20 and Progestasert. So option 3 is the answer. So please by heart these examples. 3 different types of IUDs are non-medicated, copper releasing and hormone releasing. One example here, Lips loop. Then in copper releasing you have CUT, CU7, multi-load 375 and hormone releasing are these 2. Select the favorable condition required for formation of oxyhemoglobin at the alveoli. So this is pretty easy. What you have to remember, there are total 4 factors. PO2 has to be high and remaining 3 has to be low, which is PCO2, H+ concentration and temperature. Low PO2, no. High PO2, correct. Low PCO2, correct. Less H+, correct. Low temperature, correct. So option 2 is the answer. This is low PO2, wrong. High PO2, high PCO2, wrong. So option 2 is the answer. So similar question was asked before. Identify the wrong statement with reference to transport of oxygen. High H+ concentration in alveoli favor the formation of oxyhemoglobin. So see how the same concept can be asked differently. Which enzyme is responsible for the conversion of inactive fibrinogens to fibrin? This is a straightforward factual question. The answer is thrombin. Option 2 is the answer. So let's use this question as an opportunity to revise the coagulation mechanism. So majority of cuts are minor cuts. They happen in the superficial skin area, okay, under which are capillaries and arterioles. The main arteries are far off. So when there is a minor cut, this small blood vessel will be ruptured. So just imagine this as the city roads. So if the road is damaged, what is the obvious thing we are going to do? We will divert the traffic. Same thing happens here. The damaged endothelium will secrete certain factors like endothelin and it is going to cause vasoconstriction so that the blood will start moving in other blood vessels. Then second step will be formation of platelet plug. Platelet are usually round, smooth cells flowing in blood. But when they sense any injury, they will turn into spiky and sticky cells. And these sticky cells will stick together and they will help in formation of the initial seal, temporary seal, which is going to slow down the loss of blood from damaged area. Now, calcium is one of the coagulation factors. What are coagulation factors? So they are factors which are normally present in inactive form. When they sense any injury, they will be converted into active form. Now in this case, the reaction is catalyzed by enzyme called thrombokinase. Okay, this active thrombin in turn is going to activate fibrinogen into fibrin threads. This is the damaged area, okay, and blood is leaking out. So when fibrinogen forms the fibrin threads, these threads will start to form a network, a meshwork kind of thing, and this is going to hold the dead and damaged form elements. Okay, and this is called the clot. So everything grouped together will help in sealing that area. Okay. In case of hemophilia, important factor like factor 8 and factor 9 are genetically not inherited. They are missing. So formation of fibrin threads is compromised in these patients. Okay. So even minor cut can lead to massive loss of blood from body. Which of these is not an important component of initiation of parturition in humans? The parturition is the process of childbirth. Release of prolactin, increase in estrogen progesterone ratio, synthesis of prostaglandins, and last one, release of oxytocin. So one by one we will look into the role of each and every hormone, and then I will tell you the right answer for this. So the first hormone, prolactin, mentioned in this question, it is secreted by pituitary gland, and the role of prolactin is to regulate growth of mammary glands. It also regulates formation of milk in them. So this particular hormone is not directly involved in parturition. Next one, estrogen. During parturition, estrogen promotes uterine contractions and cervical ripening. What is the meaning of ripening? Ripening simply means dilation, because the fetal head has to come out through the cervix. So it has to dilate, and it dilates up to 10 centimeters. So for this process, estrogen plays an important role. Progesterone, it is important because it prevents premature labor. Now in this question, you can see this option, increase in the estrogen and progesterone ratio. Now because estrogen is playing such an important role of cervical dilation, estrogen is going to dominate. So next hormone is prostaglandin. This is also important in cervical ripening process. Then it also plays important role in rupturing the amniotic sac, and it also promotes uterine contractions. And last one, oxytocin. Of course, this is very important hormone. It plays an important role in the positive feedback. It enhances the strength of uterine contractions. So coming back to these options, estrogen is important, progesterone is important, prostaglandin is important, oxytocin is important. So the right answer for this question is release of prolactin. Welcome back. We will continue from here. Which of the following secretes the hormone relaxin during the later phase of pregnancy? Relaxin is pregnancy hormone. It is secreted by ovary. So within ovary it is corpus luteum. Option 3 is the answer. Match question. Scapula is triangular flat bone. A is 4. A4 is in 1 and 4. Then B is either 3 or 2. B is cranium. Cranium is joined by a fibrous joint. B3. So this is the answer. Option 1. A person goes to high altitude and experiences altitude sickness with symptoms like breathing difficulty and heart palpitation. Correct. Everything in this statement is correct. Due to low atmospheric pressure at high altitude, the body does not get sufficient oxygen. Because the pressure is low, oxygen is low, so there is a difficulty in breathing, and to compensate it, heart starts to beat faster. So this is the correct justification of A. Both are true, correct, and R is the correct explanation. Option 2 is the answer. During muscular contraction, which of the following events occur? H zone disappears. Let's see the image. This is a sarcomere, the Z line to which actin filaments are attached. In the center is M line to which myosin is attached. So the zone where only the myosin is present, there is no actin in relaxed state, that is called H zone. During contraction, the actin filaments will slide in, so obviously H zone will disappear. So this is in relaxed state. You can see the H zone here, and then when contracted, H zone disappears. So A is correct. A is correct. So in the option, wherever A is not there, that will be wrong. So B, there is no A here. A, it seems like A is not here, but A is hidden here. So A is here, you can see. The only option 4 doesn't have A, so this will be wrong. Next is A band widens. A band never widens. This is wrong. B is wrong. So this is wrong and B is over here. So the right answer is option number 2. Autoimmune disorder is a condition where body defense mechanism recognizes its own cells as foreign bodies. Correct. This is correct statement. Rheumatoid arthritis is a condition where body does not attack self cells. No, this is wrong. It's an autoimmune disorder. So we will have to select statement 1 is correct and 2 is incorrect. So the reference is 2 different chapters. This is the definition in locomotion and movement. Arthritis is inflammation of joint. So medical terms ending in itis indicates inflammation. And this is from chapter Human Health and Diseases. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disorder because immune cells starts attacking self cells. Next question. Osteoporosis is characterized by decreased bone mass and increased chance of fracture. Correct. Reason is common cause of osteoporosis is increased levels of estrogen. It's not increased, it is decreased level. It is seen in post-menopausal women. So R is incorrect. A is true, R is false. This statement is from Locomotion and Movement. Age-related disorder characterized by decreased bone mass, increased chances of fractures due to decreased levels of estrogen. Keep lips loop is a type of contraceptive used as, this is factual question, it is non-medicated IUD. Non-medicated IUD, option 3. So this is very important topic, it is asked many times. You need to remember 3 types of IUDs. Non-medicated, copper releasing and hormone releasing. Under normal physiological conditions in human being, every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can deliver dash ml of oxygen to the tissues. This is also a factual question, it is 5 ml. 5 is the answer. So another fact with respect to carbon dioxide which you should by heart is every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood transports 4 ml of carbon dioxide. Which of the following statements are true for spermatogenesis but do not hold for oogenesis? First one, it results in the formation of haploid gametes. Both of these processes, they come under gametogenesis. So of course they will form gametes. So this is not exclusive to spermatogenesis. So wherever you see A, strike it out. A is in none of the options. Next one. Differentiation of gamete occurs after the completion of meiosis. So here the keyword is differentiation. In case of spermatogenesis, the rounded spermatids which are non-motile, they transform into motile sperms. So there is definitely differentiation process which changes the structure and therefore acquisition of new function to the cell. In case of oogenesis, if you notice, within the follicle, the oocyte doesn't undergo any structural change. More or less, it remains the same rounded cell. So differentiation is unique feature of spermatogenesis. Next point, meiosis occurs continuously in a mitotically dividing stem cell population. Here the keyword is continuously. So this table will give you clarity. This is spermatogenesis in blue, this is oogenesis in pink. So spermatogenesis begins at puberty and then it is continuous process till it forms the motile sperms. On the other hand, oogenesis occurs discontinuously. A part of the process occurs in fetal life and then after birth and during childhood everything is arrested and it regains after puberty. So this is discontinuous, this is continuous. So now we know B and C are correct. Can we arrive at the answer with these two? So since C is correct but C is not in option 3, so option 4 will be the right answer if E is correct. So it is initiated at puberty. Yes, spermatogenesis is initiated at puberty. Oogenesis is initiated at fetal life. So this is right. We have B, C, E correct, and option 4 is the right answer. Let's rule out fourth one also. It is controlled by luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone secreted by anterior pituitary. So yes, both are controlled by FSH and LH. So D is common to both. Which of the following is a correct match for disease and its symptoms? Arthritis, inflamed joints. This is correct match. I think we have the answer. Tetany, high calcium levels causing rapid spasm. This is low calcium level. Myasthenia gravis, genetic disorder. Genetic is wrong. It is autoimmune. Muscular dystrophy is autoimmune. So they have switched the definitions. So the right answer is 1. The coagulum is formed of network of threads called thrombin. Thrombin is wrong. Statement 1 is wrong. Spleen is the graveyard of erythrocytes. This is correct. So statement 1 is incorrect, 2 is correct. Option 4. So I have already discussed this in previous video. This is how thrombin will help in converting fibrinogen into fibrin. Fibrin are threads and they will form the network and help in coagulation, final clot formation. See this question. Thrombin is the enzyme responsible for conversion of inactive fibrinogen to fibrin. This was discussed before. Which of the following is present between adjacent bones of vertebral column? So it is cartilaginous joint. So cartilage will be present. The answer is cartilage. So intercalated disc might confuse some students as vertebral disc. The right answer is cartilage. So 3 types of joints are fibrous joints, cartilaginous joints, and synovial joints. Fibrous joints do not allow any movement. They are connected by dense fibrous connective tissue, hence the name fibrous joints. Cartilaginous joints, they allow limited movements and they are held together by cartilage. Synovial joints are freely movable joints and they are filled with fluid, synovial fluid. Hence the name synovial joint. This is the question from NEET 2022. The topic was seminiferous tubule and students got confused between into and from. So from is given in NCERT textbook, into word is not given, and that led to the whole confusion. My guess is maybe this diagram confused students. So because the sperms are directed this way, it gives an impression that maybe after maturation they come out and they are released from the seminiferous tubule into the interstitial space. That would be wrong. Once the sperms are ready, they will swim in the center cavity, which is called the lumen of tubules, and from here or into the tubule, from the seminiferous tubule, they will later join the rete testis. So let's attempt the question. The release of sperms into the seminiferous tubule is called spermiation. This is correct. And just like ovulation, this is also release of the gamete from the original source. In case of females, ovary and fallopian tube, the fimbriae of fallopian tube, these are 2 distinct structures and it is clearly given in the diagram, so it never creates any confusion. On the other hand, in case of male reproductive system, the tubes are interconnected. So seminiferous tubule is followed by rete testis. These are 2 tubes. So the flow of sperm will always happen within the tubes. So if the statement says into the tubule, then this statement is correct because sperm will never come out of the tubule into the interstitial space. This statement is correct. Spermiogenesis is the process of formation of sperms from spermatogonia. Formation of sperm is spermatogenesis, generation of sperm, formation of sperms. So this statement is incorrect. 1 is correct, and 2 is incorrect, option 3. Which of the following is not the function of conducting part of respiratory system? So the respiratory system is divided into two parts. Conducting part starts from nostrils and it ends in terminal bronchiole, and the alveolar duct and alveoli, they constitute the gas exchange part. It clears inhaled air from foreign particles. Yes, it clears. Inhaled air is humidified, correct. Temperature of inhaled air is brought to body temperature. This is also correct. So this has to be the right answer. So this is what you need to remember. Human respiratory system is divided into two parts, conducting part and gas exchange part. And this starts from nostril and ends in terminal bronchiole. This includes alveolar ducts and alveoli. Which one of the following statements is correct? So this is very important topic. It is on the cardiac cycle, and I want to, instead of telling you the answer directly, I want to go through each and every statement. So cardiac cycle, it lasts for 0.8 second. We consider the beginning of a cardiac cycle from joint diastole. This is the time when all four chambers are relaxed. The valves, this is bicuspid and tricuspid valve, are also open. Semi-lunar valves are closed. Because see, this is a very short cycle. So the blood has just gone into aorta and the pulmonary artery. During joint diastole, blood moves freely in all chambers. SA node fires a signal which causes atrial depolarization, leading to atrial systole. So look at the first statement. The atrioventricular node generates an action potential to stimulate atrial contraction. It is not AV node, it is SA node, sinoatrial node. P wave of ECG denotes atrial depolarization, and then it is followed by atrial systole. Blood flows down into the ventricles. The second statement says the tricuspid and the bicuspid valves open due to the pressure exerted by the simultaneous contraction of the atria. This is not right. Both the valves are already open. They are open even before contraction of the atria begins. So from joint diastole till the point of ventricular contractions, these two valves will remain open. After atrial systole, what will happen? Atrial diastole will happen. Contraction will be followed by relaxation, and ventricles will now start to contract, which is called ventricular systole. So Q wave is the point of ventricular depolarization, and this is followed by ventricular systole. These valves are already closed, okay? So blood will have the tendency to go backwards, and to prevent this backflow, these two valves will quickly close, and this will lead to the first sound, lub sound. So at this point of time, all these valves are closed. Increased ventricular pressure causes closing of the semilunar valve. This is wrong. It causes opening of the semilunar valves. Finally, the last option, blood moves freely from atrium to the ventricle during joint diastole. So this was the first image which I showed you, and this is the right answer. Which of the following are not the effects of parathyroid hormone? So before going into this, let's revise the topic. There are 4 parathyroid glands. They are present on the backside of thyroid gland. Okay, one pair each in the 2 lobes of thyroid gland. So total 4 glands. The hormone which is secreted is parathyroid hormone. It is a peptide hormone. So thyrocalcitonin will tone down. It will decrease the level of calcium in blood. And parathyroid will act opposite to thyrocalcitonin. It is going to increase the calcium levels in blood. So to increase the calcium levels in blood, it is going to remove calcium from bones. It is called dissolution or demineralization, and the right word is bone resorption. So this is one way to increase blood calcium levels. The other 2 ways are increased reabsorption of calcium from the renal tubules, from kidney. So any kind of loss from urine will be avoided by this reabsorption, and again absorption will be increased from the digestive food. So from digestive system, from urinary system, and from bone. Collectively, this will lead to increase in the calcium level, and this is the reason parathyroid hormone is called hypercalcemic hormone. It increases blood calcium level. So now we will have to check which of the following are not the effects of parathyroid hormone. It stimulates the process of bone resorption. Yes, it does. We have to look for not the effects. So since A is the role of parathyroid hormone, A cannot be the answer. Strike it off. A is wrong. Next one. See, B is common here. So either C or D, rule out between these two. C is reabsorption of calcium by renal tubules. This is also the role of parathyroid hormone. So C cannot be the answer. So D and E has to be the answer. So option 2 is the correct answer of this question. D is decreases the absorption of calcium. Decreases the absorption. No, it increases. And increases metabolism of carbohydrates. E. Select the incorrect statement regarding synapses. Membrane of presynaptic and postsynaptic neuron are in close proximity in electrical synapse. Yes, this is correct because there is no neurotransmitter involved. Electrical current can flow directly from one neuron into the other across the electrical synapse. Yes, this is correct. Again, the reason is same. No neurotransmitter is involved here. Chemical synapses use neurotransmitter. This is correct. So fourth option has to be the wrong one, and therefore the answer of this question. So this is the internal environment of axon, which is called exoplasm instead of cytoplasm. This is outside. So sodium potassium pump is involved in active transport. So it uses ATP. Now this is going to pump out 3 sodium and pump in 2 potassium ions. This imbalance is going to create polarity. And this is the reason we call the membrane being polarized. At resting state, membrane is polarized. The charge inside the membrane is minus 70 millivolts. So this is the main concept. Keep it in your mind. They can twist the question and ask you anything from this information. The next question, during nerve impulse propagation, action potential is due to movement of, it is the movement of sodium ions inside the cell. This is the membrane, this is exoplasm, this is outside. This channel is now different. It is not sodium potassium pump. This is dedicated sodium pump. It is called voltage gated. It is voltage gated because nerve impulse will activate it. So the outside was positive in polarized membrane. Due to nerve impulse activation, sodium ions will move into the exoplasm. And what will happen? Now inside will become positive, and from minus 70 millivolts, the potential changes to plus 40. And this plus 40 is called action potential. So there is reversal of polarity. The membrane is called depolarized membrane. In match question, read the column with more words. Inhibit ovulation and implantation. This is the role of pills. B is 1. B1 is here, 1 and 2. Increase phagocytosis of sperm within uterus. This is IUD. C is 2. C2. So option 2 is the answer. So I will use this question as an opportunity to revise the whole topic of contraception. These are the 5 features of ideal contraceptive. It should be user-friendly, easily available, effective, reversible, and it should not interfere with the sexual drive and desire. 7 different types of contraception. First one, natural method. 3 different categories are here. Periodic abstinence, avoid coitus during from day 10 to day 17 of menstrual cycle. Then coitus interruptus is withdrawal of penis prior to ejaculation. And then lactation amenorrhea is absence of menstrual cycle during period of intense lactation. This is the best method because the side effects are nil, but the chances of failure is high. Barrier methods include disposable as well as reusable. Disposable are condoms. These are for both male and female. And the advantage here is it will also prevent from STDs. Reusable, 3 different examples: diaphragm, cervical caps, and walls. IUD, oral contraceptive pills, 2 categories: steroidal and non-steroidal. In steroidal, you will have either this alone, progestogens, or a combination of progestogens and estrogen. In non-steroidal, the example is Saheli pill. This is basically an estrogen receptor modulator. So this is taken once a week. Now you can have injectables as well as implants, the same combination of estrogen and progestogens or progestogens alone. It can be either injected or implanted under the skin. Then emergency contraceptives are progestogens or a combination of progestogens or estrogen. This has to be taken within 72 hours of coitus. The final one is surgical method. This is called terminal method because there's no going back. Surgical method when done on male is called vasectomy. The vas deferens, the ducts are cut. And in case of female, it is called tubectomy because fallopian tubes are cut.